Hey everybody, today this is Monday's work. It is 8-3, and we are talking about triangle measures. So this is day one of triangles. We're going to do this for 3 days, and then we'll be done with school. So as we go through, um, let's go to this first slide and talk about triangles. So one of the basic things that we need to understand about triangles is that all three angles in a triangle are going to add up to 180 degrees. So when you talk angles in triangles, we talk in degrees. So make sure that we know that all three angles in a triangle, no matter what the triangle looks like, they're going to add up to 180 degrees. So we have to understand this. Another thing is this is an angle symbol. Okay, that's not a greater than or less than. That is an angle symbol. Okay, so if they give you the angle symbol and they say A, they're talking about angle A. Okay, so this would be angle B and then angle C. Okay, so make sure that we understand that. Those three things all have to add up to 180. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today, is finding missing angles using this understanding that 180 degrees is what they have to add up to. So let's go on to the next one. So if we take this triangle, and we know that all three of these angles, 1, 2, 3, all have to add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so we understand that. So what do we know? So let's put down what we know. So we have a 40-degree angle, and we know if we add that to 92.3, we know that one. And then we're going to get plus n, that's our missing angle, and we know that that has to equal to 180. So hopefully we all understand that 40 plus 92.3 is going to be 132.3 plus n equals 180. So this is basically just solving equations much like we did way back in November, probably before Thanksgiving actually. So hopefully some of you remember this. So what do we got to do to this? This is an addition problem, so what do we got to do? We got to subtract. So we are going to subtract 132.3 so that they cancel out. But whatever we do to the left, we got to do to the right, so we're going to subtract 132.3. So n is going to equal 47.7 degrees. So that's our answer right there. So that's our three angles. And then you can always take your answer, throw it into that original problem of 40 plus 92.3 plus 47.7. You can add those three together and see if you get a 180 to make sure that your answer is correct. So a good way to always check your answer. I love that when you can check your answer like that. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Again, these aren't too hard if you just kind of keep up with what's going on. One thing with this, we need to understand when we see this square in the corner, that is telling us that that angle is 90 degrees, okay? Or what we call a right angle. So that's 90 degrees. So we know all of our angles. So let's take these. It all has to add up to 180. So 37 plus 90 plus n is going to equal 180. Okay, and then we're just going to solve that out. So 37 plus 90 is 127 plus n equals 180. Again, that's an addition problem, so we're going to subtract 127. So they cancel out. We're going to subtract 127 from this side. So n is going to equal 53. And make sure we have that degree in there. Now you can spell out degrees, so if you put, for some of you that are typing things out, I know that we don't have that little degree symbol, so 53 degrees, we could write it out that way. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Make sure you're emailing me with any questions you might have. Okay, so this is going to not change anything for us. We still know this, that these three things have to add up to 180. So just kind of keep your wits about you here and just write it out like it needs to be written out. Okay, so just write out your three angles so that they equal to 180. Okay, so what's 2n plus n? That's the same as saying 1n, right? So 2n plus n is going to be 3n. Okay, not too bad. Okay, so just a plain n is the same as 1n, so 2 plus 1 is 3, so we get 3n. So 30 plus 3n equals 180. We're going to minus 30, because this is an addition problem, so we're going to minus 30. And we're going to get 3n equals 150. Okay, so now this is part of our one-step equations that we know. We've been doing them forever, so we know that this is a multiplication problem. So we're going to divide by 3. Whatever we do to the left, we got to do to the right. So that is going to equal 50 degrees. Okay, so we know that this is going to be 50 degrees. This one's 30. What's that one? What's the third one going to be? So 2n would be, so 2 times 50 would be 100 degrees, right? So 2n, that's going to be 100 degrees. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so these would be your two answers right here. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to you. Again, write your problem out at the beginning and then just put your parts together. We know how to do that. Okay, we've been doing that for 4 months, 5 months now. Okay, last one before we get to the homework. Again, these three angles have to add up to 180. So let's just take them one at a time. So we have angle N plus 3N plus 2. Okay, so that's this angle right here. And then we have this angle. Plus N plus 8 equals 180. Now, if you can remember back forever ago when we did similar, when we did the same. So you take your ends, you combine them. You take your regular just whole numbers and you combine them, and you make it into a smaller equation. So we're going to do that. So if we take 3n plus n plus n, so that's 3 plus 1 plus 1, that's going to be 5n. So that's how many n's we have, is 5. And again, we're adding. So let's put our whole numbers together. So there's a 2 and there's an 8. So 2 plus 2 and a plus 8 equals 10. And that's going to be equal to 180. Okay, this is a little bit simpler. This is our two-step equations that we worked on before Christmas. So this is a plus 10. That's an addition problem. So I'm going to minus 10 to get those to cancel out. So we get that. We get 5n equals 170. And again, this is a multiplication, so we're going to divide to get rid of those 5s. 170 divided by 5. So n equals 34 degrees. Okay? Now, we have to put those back in. So find a measure of all the missing angles. So if I put angle 1 as n, so 1 is going to be n equals 34 degrees. Okay? If this is angle 2, okay, so I have 3, and I'm plugging 34 degrees in for n. 34 plus 2. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So when we come up with that, we're going to come up with, that is going to equal 104 degrees. Okay, and then our third angle, which is going to be this one. Okay, so we're going to plug n in, so that's going to be 34 plus 8, which is going to equal 42. So our three angles are 34 degrees, 104 degrees, and 42 degrees. Okay, so just plug, you got to figure out what n equals to, and then plug them into your original angles, and you can get your degree of each angle out of just plugging in the numbers. So that's all things that we've done before. We're just putting it together in a geometrical sense with triangles. So Make sure that we understand all three angles have to add up to 180. That's always going to be the case. So that should carry you through this first assignment on Monday. I hope you have a great day. I miss you all. Have a good one.